To preview this week's matchup between #1 Alabama and the Arkansas Razorbacks, I'm joined by former Alabama and NFL quarterback and current Crimson Tide Sports Network analyst John Parker Wilson. It's great to see you, John Parker.
You too, man. Another win. Good to be back with you.
Yes, sir. Before we preview this week's matchup, talking about that win, how about that win over there over LSU and Death Valley, man? That's about as good as it gets, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Complete game. I think offense, defense, and special teams all played pretty well. You know, a couple bad plays on defense led to 14 points for their team. But besides that, I think we played well all day long. Offense doing what they've been doing all year, scoring a lot of points. And I think defense is playing well like they had been really the second half of the year. So good things to see as we move in to this latter part of the season.
Yeah, like you said, other than a couple of plays, Alabama seems to be clicking on all cylinders right now. Now, the Razorbacks, they enter the matchup 3-6, but they have 3 losses by a combined 7 points. They're just a few points or a few plays away from being 6-3 under first-year head coach Sam Pittman. Just how improved are the Razorbacks?
You know, they look good. They're playing close games. They're playing with passion. They're playing with a lot of emotion. And right now, where they're at in their season, look, they're getting ready for next season. They want to see who they got, who are the leaders, what's going on. So you got to come into this game with Alabama knowing that they're going to fight. They're going to play to the very end. And it's going to be, I think, a different emotion than what we saw last week against LSU, because this Arkansas team with Coach Pittman, they're playing strong, and they're now going to see who's going to be the playmakers for next year also.
On offense, the Razorbacks have former Florida quarterback Felipe Franks that is 5th in the SEC in passing yards at just 224 a game. But last week against Missouri, KJ Jefferson got the start due to Felipe being injured, and he accounted for 4 touchdowns, 3 through the air and 1 on the ground. Franks is expected to be a game-time decision. You know, the Razorbacks also, they're dead last in the SEC in time of possession, but they can score quickly. What are your thoughts on this Razorback offense?
They can definitely score quickly, and not knowing what quarterback you're going to face is just going to add another wrinkle to what Pete Golding and Coach Saban are doing, going to get ready for this team. So you got to prepare for both quarterbacks. You don't know exactly what you're going to get. Probably run it a little bit of a more of a base defense and being able to adjust and adapt to what the other team's doing. We know we're going to see a lot of motion and shifts to try to confuse our secondary, so the guys also have to be ready for that. But, you know, this secondary to me is playing well. Malachi Moore, we've seen both of the cornerbacks play pretty well. They're going to have another good game against Arkansas because this team can push the ball downfield.
Well, the Razorbacks have the nation's leading tackler in Grant Morgan, but he is questionable for this matchup against Alabama due to a knee injury he sustained late in the third quarter last week against Missouri. We know what it's like to be without your signal caller, and also the Razorbacks have given up almost 1,500 yards in their last 3 games against Florida, LSU, and Missouri. They are tied for the league lead in interceptions with 13 and lead the conference in turnover margin at +8, but this defense for the Razorbacks seems to be hobbling into this matchup against the SEC's top offense.
Yeah, exactly. And not something you won't man down when you're facing Devontae Smith, Najee Harris, and Mac Jones. We can make so many plays from so many different positions on offense.
Thank you, John Parker. Kickoff from Fayetteville is scheduled for 11 o'clock. You can watch the broadcast of the game on ESPN. Reporting from the Crimson Tide Production Studio inside Bryant-Denny Stadium, I'm Christopher England with Tide TV.